My name is Keith Maynard. I'm in charge of the user interface design and user experience of the software here at AgileAssets. The first time you log into 7.0, you're going to notice immediately that it has a much more modern and appealing look and feel to it. So with 7.0, one of our big goals too was to improve the usability of the software on an iPad. So if I'm out in the field and I need to input data, it's obviously going to be a very different experience than if I'm sitting at my desk and typing something up. So taking into account the form factor of an iPad and how you're going to be putting in data, we've enhanced the screen elements to make it easier for you to interact with the software in a touch environment. It should be much easier for you to tap into a field, input data, or touch the different buttons and the different screen elements that help you navigate your way around these different screens. We also wanted to make it so the software could respond better to smaller screen sizes. So for example, with an iPad, if I'm looking at something on an iPad, I want to be able to easily read what's on my screen and also navigate my way around the screen. So what we've done is we've enhanced the different screen elements, so when I'm viewing them on a smaller size screen, I'm going to be able to read it better and I'm going to be able to navigate my way around that screen better. So an important principle of cognitive psychology is that the more you're looking at, the less of it you can take in. So we understand that the data and the information that you're looking at can be very complex at times. So by better optimizing the way in which things are laid out on your screen, we can make sure that you are able to better find and process the information that you need in order to make better decisions. So people may come to work and use our software on a day-to-day basis, but they're going to go home and they're going to get on Twitter, they're going to get on Facebook, they're going to check the news. They're going to do a lot of things that deal with other people's products. And so when they come and they start using our product, their expectations as to where things are and how to use the software is shaped by their experience with other products. So we've taken this into consideration with 7.0. So you'll notice that the screen layout now, as you go around it, is going to seem much more familiar to you because it's based off of the web standards that many of the software applications that you've used on the internet adhere to. Things like making sure that the help icon is in the top right hand of the corner of the screen, so that if they need help, they know intuitively where to find it. No one has to train them, no one has to tell them, hey, go look at the help manual to find where it is, which is very problematic if you're trying to find the help button. No one has to tell them how to do these things because it's intuitive to them because it's based off of 90% of their experience with software. We've improved the way in which the software communicates with you as well. So things like the save successful message, you're going to notice that it's much more prominent and it's much more easy to understand when something's been saved and when something still needs to be saved. So by adhering to these web standards, we can make sure that new users are going to have an easier time using it out of the box. They're going to be able to find things more easily without having to consult a training manual or without having to talk to someone else. And that veteran users too are going to feel much more comfortable, and they may even start to discover some features that they may have not known were there before. Typographic elements on all screens have been improved to increase readability. We've also taken the screen and increased the amount of real estate that you have in order to work with the data in front of you. This means that you're going to have an easier time looking at and also manipulating the data. So what we've done is we've taken what used to be the sidebar and we've rearranged a lot of the screen elements, so you now have a lot more horizontal space to work with when you're looking at the data. We've also increased the amount of vertical space that you can work with as well, giving you basically an infinite amount of space that you can use to arrange different screen elements and look at the data. So studies have shown that people, when they're learning a piece of software, they typically just learn the very minimum that they need to learn, and then their learning stagnates at that point. That's why it's so important that the different functions in the software are easier to find. So what we've done with 7.0 is try to bring some of these features and functions up to the surface to make them easier to find and easier to navigate. So for example, what you can do now in the application is take a menu option and turn that into a button inside of a data window. So when you look at a data window now, rather than wondering, what can I do with this, certain options will be visible right from the get-go. So you can see, oh, here's this data window and here's what I can do with it. Here are some of the primary actions I can take here. Because people can literally go decades using the same piece of software and never know the full potential of what they can do with it. With the mapping interface, we wanted to create an experience that both new users and experienced users would feel comfortable with. We know that outside of our own software, people are going to use a lot of different mapping applications. People use Google Maps or Bing Maps all the time to navigate their way around town. People use GPS devices and software to find their way around. So we wanted to create an experience that was intuitive for them, knowing the different ways in which they use maps. So we've simplified the interface considerably and made it more intuitive for people, whether they're familiar with GIS or if they're just familiar with Google Maps. They should have an easier time using our mapping interface now.